And well, a 40-member delegation from UAE is in Jammu and Kashmir for the investment plans. It's now a stumping victory for the investments coming into Jammu and Kashmir. The Islamophobia lobby completely stumped.
Absolutely, because this is the visit that is of a delegation, the business delegation that is coming at a time 2 months after the administration of Jammu and Kashmir of the Union Territory. They had inked several of those agreements with global investors. That was happening at the Dubai Expo there 2020, and we're looking at several of those firms, be it from Sharjah, be it from the other countries there who are from Abu Dhabi, from Saudi Arabia, who will be arriving there in Jammu and Kashmir. This is a 40-member delegation, and this is a bid to turn MOUs worth 3,000 crores that has been signed earlier into a reality. Ishan is with us right now. Quickly going across to him. जो नया कश्मीर की बात होती थी ईशान, वो सपना आज सच हो रहा है.
Well, yes, that's how the government is viewing this particular thing. उनका यही कहना है लगातार कि ये जो प्रयास है वो ना केवल जॉब सेक्टर में जॉब्स क्रिएट करने का है, बल्कि जो इकोनॉमी में पंप करने का, इन्वेस्टमेंट का जो इरादा सरकार रखती है, उसी पे चलते हुए इन इन्वेस्टर्स को जम्मू कश्मीर दिखाया गया. काफ़ी सारी जगहें जो थी, चाहे वो नॉर्थ कश्मीर हो, साउथ कश्मीर हो, और काफ़ी सारी ऐसे टूरिज्म के रिलेटेड जो जगहें हैं वहाँ पे ले जाया गया. इसमें गौर करने वाली ये बात भी है कि काफ़ी सारी जो जगहें हैं वो टूरिज्म सेक्टर से रिलेटेड है, और काफी सारे डेलीगेशंस में जो लोग थे वो ना केवल इंडिया के ऐसे लोग हैं जो पहले ही एस्टैब्लिश कर चुके हैं अपने आप को यूएई में. उनमें से काफी लोग जो है सऊदी अरेबिया से थे, हांगकांग से थे, और कुछ लोग जो है यूएई से थे. इसमें काफी सारे लोगों की कंपनियां एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में है, टूरिज्म में है, हॉस्पिटैलिटी में है, और बाकी एजुकेशन सेक्टर में भी है. सो द गवर्नमेंट वांट्स टू मेनली फोकस ऑन दीज सेक्टर्स, ब्रिंग देम हियर, सो दैट नॉट ओनली द जॉब क्रिएशन दैट द गवर्नमेंट हैज बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट आफ्टर द एब्रेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 370, दे वांट टू टर्न इट इनटू रियलिटी, एंड दैट इज हाउ द government is viewing it. We saw that during the press conference held yesterday, they made it clear that these people have come actually on their own expenses, on their own chartered plane, and the government is just facilitating them. Remember, Sinha had visited Dubai Expo, and wherein he signed an MOU with some groups, and later on extended invitation to other parties to come here, and this is part of that particular investment that is being done. We are told by Industry and Commerce Department that yes, the investment in the past 6 months has been high, and they intend to take it further to make sure that there is more money pumped in. Not only the tourism sector is seen somewhere where it can gain more money, but yes, also in other fields
so
as well.
The Kashmir Chamber of Commerce and Industry is concerned, let's listen in to more reactions that are coming in as to what work that has been done by the administration there in the last 2 years to attract investments.
Yeah, basically, it's an initial stage. We are trying to take it forward. We couple of years back we started it with a delegation from Kashmir, and we tried to by that delegation there was a lot of exports from here. Especially apples were exported first time. Food processing items were exported first time to Dubai and UAE and to Middle East, and that was a good thing which we did that time. And now that this is the second stage, their delegation has come. They are exploring their possibilities. They could have local tie-ups with the locals here. I mean, that's what we are encouraging right now.
Do you think this will bring more business and job opportunities to Kashmir if they invest in hospitality and other sectors which the government intends to do?
See, if business will grow, economy will grow, obviously it will bring the employment on ground. But the thing is, now we have to see what kind of sustainable employment we get here. In which sectors they are going to invest here, if they are going to invest in which sectors. We are working out, I mean, it would be better if they would do tie-ups with the locals here, because they understand this place more. They have been living in the difficult times, and they have survived in the local. There are a lot of success stories from local business here who have survived all these years.
All right, let's open this up. We have Tuhin Sinha of the BJP joining us. Maroof Raza will also be joining us. Apart from that, we also have Ahmed Ayaz, lawyer and political analyst, and Sheikh Aamir, leader of the Congress party, joining us. First up, Tuhin Sinha, would you consider this the biggest victory or the vindication of the stand of the BJP from a terror hub that Jammu and Kashmir was known as? Now we are looking at it becoming a business hub.
You know, you need to go back in history. Kashmir was always a free land open to trade from Central Asia in the 12th and 13th century. So it was only the largely Article 370 and 35A, along with the monopoly of two families, the Muftis and the Abdullahs, that had reduced Kashmir to a ghetto. And thankfully, after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, and after the slew of measures we have initiated to open up trade, this path-breaking initiative, is coming to fruition. So yes, this will be a big game changer for Kashmir, but at the same time, you need to realize that Kashmir was always meant to be this way. 600, 700 years before the jihadis and before the fundamentalist elements took over Kashmir and reduced it to a ghetto, Kashmir was always a land of free trade, and it was always a land of prosperity and, inclusivity. I'm glad it is being restored to that state.
No, absolutely, because Tuhin, that is what we all know. But Sheikh Aamir ji, because when it comes to the very idea of Naya Kashmir, क्या ये वो idea नहीं था जिसे पहले गुपकर alliance ने dismiss कर दिया था, कहा था ये सच नहीं है, this is nothing but a bunch of lies. क्या आपको वो लग रहा है जो वादे करे गए थे उन्हें आज पूरा किया जा रहा है, सर?
Thank you very much. Is this Naya Kashmir? Is this Atmanirbhar Bharat? इस सरकार की तो कोई आत्मा ही नहीं है. If you talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, why didn't Ambani and Adani come to Kashmir? Why don't they come to Kashmir? And if you talk of business in Kashmir, talk of the economy of Jammu and Kashmir, the local businessmen in Kashmir are the worst hit. And you want us to come with the begging bowl? What happened to the 1 lakh?
But even if any steps are being taken, sir, if any initiatives are being taken, sir, would you not come out of your political line and certainly appreciate the way that the work is being done there, sir? Would you not acknowledge the work that has been done in the last 2 years, sir? Tuhin, you can come in.
There are some people who live in denial. I have been to Kashmir recently. There is a big segment of the local Kashmiri population which now wants to completely shun the designs of militants, which wants to align itself with a proactive agenda of prosperity and development. Now, what is this question? Why is Adani not coming? A businessman would go wherever he chooses, wherever he sees prosperity. Sooner than later, why only Adani and Ambani? All Indian businessmen and industrialists are going to come there. But if today the Gulf countries are expressing interest, I think it is all the more important that they feel that law and order is restored to a level where they can do business. So this is an achievement, and only people living in denial can, deny that and not take cognizance of that.
Okay, all right. We have investments coming in. There are CEOs from these countries who are already in Jammu and Kashmir, so it's happening. It's no longer a claim that is made by the center. This is already happening, and we're seeing that. And there are residents of Jammu and Kashmir as well who are saying that this was something we never really expected. Ahmed Ayaz, when something positive happens, when there is a positive development, shouldn't the entire country be celebrating?
Absolutely, there is nothing to celebrate any positive development, and anybody would love to have this kind of investment in Kashmir. Everybody will feel happy with it. But the point is whether it will really be possible to yield results after this investment is made. Because we have seen our own internal industries are not growing up properly. They are not in a position to do well because of the situations, prevailing in Kashmir. We have seen a peasant or a labor coming from UP or what we call it.
No, but the first step has been taken. Would you say that the step should not have been taken just because somewhere else it's not working?
Sorry?
The first step has been taken, and that's a move that should be appreciated.
Oh, when you say that, it's okay. On papers, it's okay. If at all it works, it would have been an appreciable thing. But question is, it looks to be an eyewash just because it may possibly not work because situation.
No, but Ayaz, how can it be an eyewash when there is a delegation right there in Jammu and Kashmir, sir? And if you're talking about people coming from other parts of the state, sir, it's the same country. Maroof, Raza, would you agree?
I have long heard the lament from the Kashmiris that not enough is being done for them. But when it is also being done, there is a strong constituency of people there who only want everything rooted through their old established political representatives. those are the very people who have not allowed Kashmir to progress because they've controlled all the purse strings, they've controlled all the money that should go into the hands and infrastructure development, basically holding Kashmiris hostage to their political whims and fancies. They, I believe, are the real enemies of the Kashmiris. Of course, the Pakistanis would give them a run for their money by putting in jihadi groups. The second thing is that it is a very big international signal that people from the UAE are willing to put money in Kashmir and come out and see for themselves that Kashmir is turning a new page. UAE has for long been an important source of support to Pakistan, financially and in the OIC. So therefore, the UAE is coming in, puts another big sort of egg on Pakistan's face. And the third element is that I think the current governor and his team are actually looking at making Kashmir the Switzerland in the East that Sheikh Abdullah had promised them, but his successors failed to do that.
Right. But Aamir Saab, when it comes to the current situation, sir, don't you believe it changes the entire perception, sir, that Kashmir is now safe and an attractive destination when it comes to businessmen, sir? Doesn't it change the perception? Won't you agree?
Who wouldn't like to see development in Kashmir? Earlier, many promises were made. If you talk about these delegations, earlier the parliamentary delegations as well as delegations, foreign delegations came to Kashmir. And what was actually tried to, the government of India, the LG administration in Jammu and Kashmir, they were actually trying to show them that everything is fine in Kashmir. There is no terrorism in Kashmir. Is terrorism over in Kashmir? Aren't people being killed every day? Just 2 days, yesterday a policeman got killed by terrorists in Kashmir. So what's happening in Kashmir? So it's
so
okay, but
terrorism being wiped out from Kashmir, you will not agree to that also?
The current regime, but nothing has been done so far.
Nothing has been done so far. Tuhin, the counter that you want to give, because the claim still remains. Nothing has been done so far. They refuse to see.
One cannot drill sense and optimism into habitually pessimist people. You can see the change is very visible. You just travel across Kashmir, you will see the change. And what is frustrating, the usual the extremist sympathizers is that there is the change is coming from within Kashmir. The change is very internal. Large parts of the population today are shunning if there is a one-off incident of a terror act. It is the Kashmiris who are shunning it. It is the Kashmiris who are coming in large numbers to align with the progressive thought process of the central government. They want change, and the change is very visible. You just wait for the next few months when elections take place and the next government is installed, and you will see that the change is absolutely irreversible.
Okay. In fact, when 370 was abrogated, the charge was that the Kashmiris were not taken into confidence. Not much is going to change with the abrogation of 370. Now we are seeing a change on ground. Now it's being said that this is a change that Kashmiris are not welcoming, and even now you've not been able to win the hearts of the people. Tuhin Sinha, would you say that's a challenge, winning the hearts of the people, or do you think it's only a certain section of Kashmiris, politicians perhaps, who are unhappy with these moves?
No. So first of all, when we say they were not taken into confidence on the removal of Article 370, Article 370 was imposed by default. It was never meant to be a permanent provision. In 1956, the reason it became a permanent provision was because the Constituent Assembly of Kashmir was dissolved overnight without without taking the central government into confidence. So the entire placement of Article 370 or 35A was done very surreptitiously. The people did not support it, and today, if the people indeed supported it, they would not have aligned themselves with the progressive agenda of the central government.
Right. But Ayaz Saab, the Lieutenant Governor has been saying that such kind of investments in the coming 6 months, 70,000 crores is what their government has been aiming at. It will create a job creation when it comes for the people. There are around 6 to 7 lakhs, sir. Isn't something that you need to acknowledge?
That's okay. That's okay. Who will not acknowledge that? Who will not want to have that? But the point is, any investment for successful business has to have a very conducive environment. But the question is with the continuity of militancy, whether that environment...
Sir, change is the only constant, sir. The change is now building, sir. People are welcoming the change. Lots has changed in the last 2 years, sir. But unfortunately, why haven't you changed, sir, when it comes to your mindset and your thinking, sir?
So, because it is not a question of mindset. It's a question what we see on the ground here. Because local businessmen, even they are also, worried as to because their business is not going through.
Maroof, your counter, please.
So they say that every day we have a problem here. So that being a reason, I have my own apprehensions whether any bigger investment like this, whatever is proposed, can be true. That's an issue. I would love to have that investment, but the question is whether that will be true. That is a question to be seen. So far as I am concerned, I don't see anything such is going to be...
Maroof, your counter, please.
Initiative.
Let me sort of put some questions or some points for the general understanding. Srinagar is not all of Kashmir, and everything that happens or you see on Srinagar doesn't apply across the board in Kashmir. The second thing is that those who want to invest in Kashmir can always look for opportunities outside Srinagar. Kashmir offers a lot more outside Srinagar. In Srinagar itself, you'll find a lot of dissenters. It is basically a market outlet for the people of Kashmir. But their, agricultural industry, their fruit industry, their forest industry, their mineral industry, all those opportunities lie outside of Srinagar. Secondly, Kashmir in itself is the place from where important rivers flow, and the rivers can be harnessed to give more electricity in Kashmir. There were projects in the past which the government tried, but they've been scuttled. I can give you 2 examples. Kishan Ganga was one of them, and the other was in Sopore itself. So the problem is Norwegian companies, others who come in, people disrupt it because they want to paint a picture that Kashmir is a hopeless situation. Now there will be people who will go down to their graves as naysayers. Ki kuch nahi ho raha hai. Kashmir is, a mess. Let them be. But if the vast majority are turning the page, good for us, good for them, because I think 30 years is long enough for people to realize that there are certain elements with vested interests who have kept them hostage to their own political agenda. Kashmir can actually grow, and I've maintained that Kashmir can grow without elections, without political activity. Just get the place in a blueprint for the place to grow. You solve the problems within Kashmir, and Pakistan will not have opportunities to create the problem of Kashmir. If you don't understand that essential, you will keep going the political route, and the political route has its pluses and minuses. That is not just the answer to grow Kashmir and to give Kashmiris a new lease of life. We've tried that route for 30 years. We've got nowhere.
Absolutely. So, Ayaz Saab and Aamir Saab, I want you to listen to our reporter there who's on ground, because what is being said that there are companies, there are CEOs of more than 30 of them. The entire delegation is going to be here for the next 4 days. Ishan, can you give us a quick update exactly what's there on their agenda?
Well, they have actually visited. Today is the last day of their travel in Kashmir Valley. They have visited places like Pahalgam, Gulmarg and other tourist resort places to get an understanding from the ground zero that what really is happening, because we are told yesterday by the Lieutenant Governor during the brief press conference that why they were here is to give them a first-hand account of not only just the situation but also that, opportunities they can show them where they can invest in. Although this is all being organized by the J&K government, but remember again, they have come on their own expense. That is what the government is saying, and that is why they are being taken to places in Kashmir Valley and shown. There was even a brief ideas which were discussed by several entrepreneurs here on the ground who are working and have started establishing their businesses. They were able to give out a brief plan that what really they want to do, what their companies do, and how they can invest in their companies, or if they want to start investments separately in Kashmir Valley. The government has assured them that they will be creating pathways for that, because there were certain concerns while the government pitched their ideas. They have raised that and have been able to address them. The government said yesterday that we will be taking care of all the grievances that they have.
Right, all right. So the discussions are still going on. They're going to be here as well. And as far as the numbers are concerned, we also spoke to the Principal Secretary of the Industries and Commerce Department, and he's told us about the progress that's going on.
The proximity of the space and the amount of investment that flows into sectors like hospitals, private medical colleges, hotels, IT sector, agro sector, horticulture processing sectors. These are very important for us. But it's not just the money looking out. The partnership being between the UT of Jammu and Kashmir and the GCC countries will make a big difference. This is a long-term bonding that we're getting into it. Please do recollect that the MOU that was signed was not signed between the government of J&K and a private company or a public company. It was signed with His Highness Rural Court of Dubai, where the approval of Majlis was taken. The entire ruling elite of Dubai has backed us up in the process. And here today, as you have seen, they are sitting in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, all right. We have the investments coming in. Sheikh Aamir, very quickly from you. The charge is that you could not do it in so many years, so you can't stand to see a positive change coming in Jammu and Kashmir.
What an irony. Just now it was said that after abrogation of Article 370, a lot of has been changed in Kashmir. What happened to Kashmir? After 370, see, it's always said that Kashmir is an integral part of India, but I would also say that is the injured part of India. When I say it's injured part of India after post-abrogation 370, you're only making big claims. But what has happened to the state of Jammu and Kashmir? Nothing has been done, and there are only promises. 1 lakh crore was announced by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but still not a single penny. I think it has reached to the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
Would you want to respond to that?
Please, let me complete.
Yes.
And again, when earlier the many delegations came, there is nothing wrong. And you are talking about from last 30 years or 40 years, let me tell you, J&K is far ahead than most of the states of India. Then how did that happen? You cannot say that nothing has been done in Kashmir. Out of all this from last...
No, it should be. It should be. No doubt about that, Tuhin. No doubt about that. That is the groundwork that is being laid. That is the groundwork that is now being laid. There are investments that are, if they come in India, especially in Jammu and Kashmir, wouldn't that be a positive development there, Tuhin?
Whether it is Rahul Gandhi or my fellow panelists from Kashmir, I think they must realize that anybody who looks at the dark, there is no place in this country right now for pessimists. India has moved extensively forward in the last few years. Now, like Kashmir was always the land of Lalita Aditya, Adi Shankaracharya. It was always an open land for trade. Now, if in the last few years, Saudi, in the last 3 or 4 years ago, it was a part of the other part of Saudi which was responsible for the radicalization in Kashmir. If today the best of businessmen are coming from Saudi and Middle East to invest in Kashmir, only an eternal pessimist can have a problem with that. Kashmir is on its way to a paradigm shift. That paradigm shift is visible. Opportunities are being generated. In fact, more than business of opportunities, at the core of it is a fundamental, spiritual alignment with India. That is what was being held back by certain politicians, and that is happening. Business is obviously on its way, and it will only grow.
Okay. Even if you deny it, business is on its way, and you will see the change on ground as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. So, Amita, the political slugfest over it continues, but of course, we're seeing the groundwork being put in place already.
Absolutely. We head into a short break. Back with more.